Okay, welcome again. This is our discussion segment of Good Morning Anambra today. How are you? It's good to have you here. Okay, now what I'm going to look at, the topic that says the progress of security in Anambra State, the inter-sectoral approach. I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss this because one is security, as we just got off from the discussion on the newspaper review, where we are saying that with all the things that are put in place in this country, nothing is working simply because we don't have security. Especially the hunger we are facing now. I hope you know it's because of insecurity in our farmlands. That's why we are hungry. So let's look at this and see how we can make a headway. Yeah, this morning I have a guest that has joined me to look at this topic. He is Prince Chris Nwokedi. Prince Chris Nwokedi is the Assistant Commander General, Armory, National Nigeria Hunters and Forest Security Service. A very good morning to you, Chris.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Okay, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. All right, our topic today, progress in security and but let's first of all look at who you guys are. Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service, who are you? Can you introduce yourself to us?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And good morning, Anambarians. We are the link, we are security link for all the security parastatals in Nigeria. We are security link in that there's a divisions of labor in security. It's always good to say that security is everybody's business, but then you do not discuss security with everybody. That's very funny, huh? Mm-hmm. And the NPF, Nigerian Police Force, has a handful. And then you have other parastatals like road safety, Nigerian Defense Academy, and aviation, Air Force, military, and so on and so on. But each of them has a specific area that they look into, like immigration. We know their areas: Air Force, Marine, Police. Police is the main force, the executive and manager and enforcer of the law. Sometimes they can't do it all. So here comes the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Services. In the bush, if something happens in the bush, you call the police. Before the police gets there, it's too late.
Okay, before we get there, let me see. Are you an arm of any of this security agency? Are you an offshoot from the police or the army or the civil defense? Are you attached to any of this?
Yeah, we're attached to all of them. We're attached to all the paramilitary forces in Nigeria. We have been trained by all of them. We have been trained by NDLC, we have been trained by immigration, we've been trained by Air Force, we've been trained by the military, by the police. Okay. So that's why I say we are the link. We are where they are not. The security experts come to find out that the only way to solve security is to find what is the problem, and the problem is from the bush.
What is the relationship between your agency now and that of the civil defense? Because it does appear they too work in the bush too.
Yeah, the civil defense is they work in the bush, but they are not trained to live and harvest and manage the bush. But they still have something. Every security agency has something to do with the bush, but hunters specialize in crime that happens in the bush or end up in the bush. Okay. And people mistake us with bush hunters.
Okay, exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to ask you. When you say hunters, the next thing that comes to your mind are the bush meat killers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are you hunting in the forest?
We are hunting for bad boys. We are hunting for criminals that use forest as safe haven, as they call it, the Israelites' promised land. Nobody's there. 90% of the crime that happens in the city ends up in the forest.
Really?
Yes. Statistics tells us from all paramilitary informations that 65% of the rapes are in the forest. The kidnapping in the city, where they go to? In the forest, where they have safe haven. Nobody gets there. The issue of not catching them is because nobody is there. That's when the hunters come in. We are asking the state to support us to make our office in the bush. We are going to use bush as our office. So when they come, we are there before them. When they go from the city, we are there before them. When we have office in the bush, we can patrol any other area of the state. I'm concerned about Anambra State as my state.
Okay, are you from Anambra?
I'm from Anambra.
Or you are in charge of Anambra?
No, I'm from Anambra. As a matter of fact, I'm from Achala in Awka North.
Okay, when you say, okay, oh good. When you say the state supports, is this this agency supposed to be a federal government agency, and then you are posted to different states?
Yes, this is a federal government parastatus, agency and paramilitary agency, and we're in the 36th state of Nigeria plus capital.
Okay.
And government and federal government is about to assent to our bill. We've been passed. We've gone through this lower house and upper house, and went through the whole process about 6 years ago. And now our bill is on presidential desk to be assent. And once it's assent, and then we're good to go. But the federal government is urging every state government to work with the hunters until that time that they can set up the system of management. And the hunters has been working with many states in Nigeria, up to 13 to 14 states. I'm currently working with hunters and want Anambra to be a part of it, a part of the national cake. Anambra is the light of the nation. And every state looks up Anambra. What's Anambra doing? Are they doing? No, so we want to be the state that everybody wants to be a part of.
Okay, fine. Now, how are your membership selected? Have you worked in any of the security agencies or paramilitary before? How do you select your members?
For me, I've lived in U.S. for 35 years. I retired from military, honorable discharge, and then I spent all my life abroad, in U.S. to be precise, and then I've been in several wars in U.S., but these security issues, most of them will not be discussed here. Okay. I have the experience, and my dream has been, I have trained many countries that came for us to train them, and my dream has been to come home and train my people on security, because most of Nigerians abroad cannot come back because of insecurity. I have a friend of mine that purchased a land, I will not mention the state, and then for development. When he comes back and he wants to visit the land, he was kidnapped. And we know what happened before they could release him. You can't tell him or his family to come back again. So that insecurity is one of the reasons why we have slow development in our state. Okay,
fine. Okay, now that you guys are here, you are the assistant commander here. Where do you have your office?
We still have a small office in Awka here, and then it's not enough. It's volunteer. One of the members volunteered the office for us, and we're hoping that the state will help us acquire a very good office that that we can operate from. But we don't need office in the city. We need office in the forest. That's our main job. We don't need office in Awka or any other place. We need the government to facilitate our movements.
And how are we going to do it now? Every local government, there will be office in the bush for your men in all the local governments? Or?
No, we are very happy that a community has donated 100 plus of land to be used as training center for Eastern Zone. We want Anambra to be the training center for Eastern Zone. And then once we establish the training center for Eastern Zone, we can operate from that particular training center to any part of Anambra Forest. We have patrol cars. We're going to have patrol cars. Hopefully, we're going to have patrol cars and equipment to achieve it. We don't need to have offices or in all the forests or being. We just need a training center. Then we can patrol the entire forest in Anambra State. That's how it's done.
Okay.
In Taraba, they did it. In Benue, they did it. In Kano, they did it. And I want Anambra to be a part of it.
Okay, so when did you take up? When did you start in Anambra?
We are starting as soon as we can get help from the state. The state is trying. We have had several meetings with the Homeland Security. We are going to continue having meetings with Homeland Security. The governor is trying. And the issue of security is not an issue of a small job. And the governor has made a lot of effort to enhance security in the state. Recently, he inaugurated 20 vigilantes per community. 20 vigilantes per community times, I believe, 189 communities in Anambra State gives you over 3,650 vigilantes added to the current one, and is a big job, and has increased the checking points in Anambra. Last time we were going to Enugu, we have several checking points between Enugu and Anambra, and even after Anambra, the checking point is still there due to the help of our own government, because Enugu is very far from Anambra here, like Amansi area. We notice that most of those checking points are still being manned and controlled by Anambra commands.
Okay. Now, what is your relationship with the AVG? Do you work hand in hand with them? Yes,
we work hand in hand with AVG, and we intend to continue the relationship. We're going to retrain most of them to join the force in some certain areas, some certain level. But I'm not going to discuss how far we have gone with AVG and other parastatals, including the Nigerian Police Force, in achieving and tackling the problem with security in Anambra State. Because security is number one problem, like you said earlier from this program. If we have insecurity in the state, at least for Anambra, for instance, nothing works. And in our market, there's no food because farmers cannot farm. And when farmers does not farm, there's no food. The cost of food, last time I was at the station with other members, officer members, a cup of gari was 5 or 4. Now a cup of gari dropped to 3 and 3.5 in some areas because farmers cannot farm. And if they want to farm, there's no people to farm. So we're urging the state government to please liaise with agricultural department to release tractors, at least for our area, Oka North, that are food basket of the state. Actually alone produces 40% of the food consumed in the state. Only one community. And plus other communities will need community-based agricultural support from the governor, like tractors. A tractor can cultivate in a day what 200 men cannot cultivate. And we are yet to see that happening. If governor works with us and the security agencies in the state, I know and I promise that a year from now, we're going to see the difference in food prices and securities in Anambra State.
Okay. So how do you, okay, it's security issue. So sometimes it's even difficult to ask questions when you're discussing security matters, because you wouldn't know the one that will be answered and the one that will not be answered. Otherwise, I wanted to ask you, how do you intend to secure Anambra Forest? Do you know the terrain? Okay, like, what is obtained here is not there. Some people don't have some areas don't even have problem with the forest because they live together. Some communities like in Idemli, they live together. And then some other communities in the central too. But when you have, when you come to communities like those of them in the Anambra northeast or the Omambara areas, okay, or those of them, those communities in the border areas like the Yorumbas and that kind of thing, okay. So how do you intend to man the forest, as your duty is to man the forest of Anambra?
Thank you. We recruit from the indigenous. 90% of vigilantes in every community are from the communities. So they know the community and they know the forest. So we come, we ally with the traditional rulers to recruit the indigenous that who can tell who they are and where they come from. And they are the one that knows their forest. Then we ally with them and put them on the forefront, what the military call the recan. The indigenous of every community are used to make the recan that knows the area of the forest in their own particular community. So it's very simple to man the forest because you can't work without the indigenous. The indigenous are the youths. And as you know, 60% of the youths are unemployed. So that gives an opportunity to help the community and at the same time earn a living. We intend to employ over 6,000 to 7,000 youths in Anambra State for this project. And if you take 6,000 to 7,000 youths off the street, the crime will drop because they're going to earn a living. They're very proud of their community and they're very proud that they're contributing to their communities. So minding the forest is not a problem. What we need is equipment and facilities.
I was going to ask you that. How do you intend to equip yourself financially? Would the budget be coming from the state or the federal government?
Currently, we expect the budget to come from the state, and maybe later the federal will pick up the tab because our bill is still on the presidential desk to be assigned. But like I said, security is everybody's business. The state cannot wait for the federal to come and start equipping the local security for the state. The state had to do their best, and then the federal will meet them halfway. So we intend to get our support from the state for now, and as time goes on, it's going to be a win-win situation. So
let's look at the challenges. What are you expecting?
We're expecting that the state will support us with patrol vehicles and equipment and the training to do exactly what we're supposed to do in the forest. We went to training last week in Abuja, and we stayed 1 week, and it was voluntarily expenses. And if we have the training in Anambra, then we can train more people in Anambra. Those that went to Abuja for training are the ones that can afford it. And really not that they don't need it. They need it, but they can't afford it. So that's why we are pushing for Anambra to be the first training ground they have for Eastern Zone, to be a landmark achievement for the state.
Okay. That's all you need from the government?
All we need from the government is funding.
Okay.
The funding, then the rest will follow up. I can't tell you everything we need from the government for security reasons.
Because I'm not going to give you, sir. I don't have anything to offer
yes,
you.
yes.
I just want to help you,
yes.
push it out.
Yes.
Okay. Don't worry, we're still here. I'm still talking with the ACP. Yes, Chris. Chris who? Mokedi. You're welcome. And these are the hunters that we are hoping that it's going to man our bushes to ensure that we have adequate security so that our parents or the farmers can go to the farm and farm freely and then curtail some of this insecurity that emanates from the bushes. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to take a break here to bring in some people that we'll talk to, and when we come back, we'll begin to round up.
The situation has improved. It is not as it used to be before. The situation has improved, but we have not reached a situation where all parts of Anambra State can be said to be safe. It is still a work in progress. And let me use this opportunity to appreciate Mr. Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, for improving on what he met on the ground. It was not like this in 2022. He came in. And my suggestion is that something organic must be put in place. Most of the people causing insecurity in Anambra State, most are products of our school system. And if something must be done, we should go back to the school. It is said like school, like society. What is happening in our society is what is happening in the school. Immediately you change the school, the society will change. I am calling on Mr. Governor to lay emphasis on skill acquisition. There must be functional skill acquisition centers in all schools, even from primary, secondary, up to university. The issue now should be skills, not only degrees. Somebody who is passing out from school must have degree, certificate, in addition to sellable skills. I feel that it is said that laziness is where the crime begins, and idle mind is a devil's workshop.
Insecurity, it has to do much with the youth, and if the youth are very much engaged, the issue of insecurity will definitely reduce. So I will advise the government to bring up programs that will get the youth engaged. That will so much discourage the level of idleness. You know, it says an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So if the youth are engaged, definitely the issue of this insecurity will reduce.
The problem of insecurity is a multifaceted problem, in the sense that, you know, one of the immediate cause of insecurity, we know that we cannot rule out the fact of the ongoing agitation that is currently happening in the Southeast in general, especially since the incarceration of Anambra Kanu, and several courts in the country has freed him, but up till now the federal government have not released him, and these are fueled so many agitations, and it has led to a lot of insecurity, police people, army people have been attacked and all that. Then another thing again that causes insecurity again is the high rate of unemployment. You know, so many youth are not engaged, and when people are not engaged, they tend to go into different kind of things. Just like the saying said that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So anybody that is idle, the person can tend to do anything to make sure that it makes ends meet. So, and people can easily get hold of all these people, recruit them, and make them to cause mayhem.
Issues of security are enormous. It needs a holistic approach. It's not something that one can just say and it will be curbed. One, the people they have a role to play. The government also have a role to play, especially the police, because when we hear about intelligence, the police in those days were conducting intelligence. Sometimes you see policemen in the midst of people. You won't even know they are policemen. They'll be doing arrest without you knowing that they are even making some arrest. This is one. Two, the police again. Most of some of these young boys who are moving about with flashy cars, the police going to protect them without even trying to know what they do to make money and go on those luxurious vehicles. It is the duty of the police to know what those young men do. Most of those young men you are seeing, they are the people who cause insecurity in the society. In fact, if you arrest any of them and go in details, you see that most of them indulge in the kidnapping we do, but they will tell you they are into yahoo and rest of them. So issues of security are so encompassing. It is not just what one can just come out and say, this is what to do. And you also go to the villages, the village head or the PGs and the Igwes, they also have roles to play. We should know whom our neighbors are. When you know your neighbor, when I know my neighbor, you know your neighbor. By so doing, we know all our neighbors. But the PGs, the Igwes, they are not helping matters. The only area I want the government to do more is on the issue of the rural area. People who have been entrusted to be our Igwes, our PGs, because of politics, they are not there. Others are usurping the office, taking it by force. And the government have not done enough to restore the real people who ought to be the Igwe in the different localities and the PGs. So these are issues that are causing insecurity in our issues of land are also problems of insecurity. Land grabbers, some of them know the highly placed politicians in our society. When they do some of those things, they go and they get protection by these men that matters in the society. Even if the police try and arresting them, tomorrow they are being released because they know those who matters in the society. So it is all encompassing. It is not what one can just come out and say, do this and do that. It has eaten so deep in the society.
Welcome back. It is still Good Morning Anambra. We're still looking at the topic, the progress of security in Anambra State, the intersectoral approach. And I still have Prince Chris Nwokedi, ACG, AMRI, National Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service with me. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, now as we begin to round off, please, what I asked you before, the methodology that you guys are going to, apply to make sure that Anambra State is secured. Is there anything you want to add to that as we conclude?
Yes, usually we start with the youths because insecurity in the state is everybody's business. And 75% based on statistics of crime committed in every city or state is by the youths. So that's why we are focused on recruitment on the youths. If we can recruit 7,000 to 8,000 youths of the states to work and become the best citizens, that will reduce the crime in the state. Just like the previous people have said, we need more support from the government in terms of technical and farming. Farming is what the government should look into so that they can make farming more modern farming, like tractors and harvesters, so that the youth can go into farm. I've seen some people collecting names for farmers grant on the widows grant. That will help, but you cannot give grant to farmers that cannot farm, and the farm is not available for them. So the government should pay more attention towards farming and go into mechanized farming. When they go into mechanized farming, then the youths will have a reason to go into farming, knowing that farming is productive. In most countries, it's the youth that farm and not the elder or the younger. But they have mechanized farming. So I'm urging the government to look into mechanized farming, tractor, harvesters, make it available for renting or community-based, organization farmers to finance it so that youth can go back to farming and not just only workshops.
All right. Now that you've heard what people that we talked about security, what's your conclusion about how to keep Anambra State safe?
Security is everybody's business. I keep saying it. You don't wait for the governor to come out and do everything by himself or finance everything for himself. We have prominent people in the state who can also help in promoting safety in the state. I'm asking the governor to help security industry in Anambra State to push on and then get equipment to work. At least the hunters in Anambra State now. If the state can help the hunters, because the police cannot go to the forest, the immigration does not go there, the Air Force does not go there, the NDLC does not go there. So it's the hunters that go there and then facilitate the effort of Nigerian police force and other forces. That is why it's very permanent and important that the state looks into the hunters' business in the state.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're
Prince
welcome.
Chris Nwokedi, the Assistant Commander General, Armory, National Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service, joined us this morning to look at the topic, the progress of security in Anambra State. I'd like to thank you very much again for coming.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and that's where we're drawing now a close to this particular segment, and we'll ask you to stand by as we're coming back with another segment this morning. My name is Sijama. Thanks.